May God be with you all.
I want to hear why they're thinking, why they. I feel it's just because they have such a vendetta against Jody Sue. Let me see. Let me make sure. Is that you, Tiffany?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm all right. Kind of got a little bit fired up earlier, but that's why I wasn't really excited about like another round because.
No, I'm not here to upset you at all.
I know, but I'm sure the information is probably going to upset me, but that's okay.
Well, first, no, I do want to say I congratulate you because I haven't spoken to you, and I'm not going to judge your, I'm not going to judge your decisions. I know many have given you a lot of, crap about who you love and whatnot, and I don't do that to people. Who you love is who you love, and I'm happy that you found happiness. And
thank you.
Yeah, congratulations on your wedding and marrying Fred. I hope that you guys are happy and that, all good things come to you both.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Same to you.
Thanks. So, I was listening earlier. I didn't know that Jody was live, and I had just gone into my Discord quickly. I've been kind of distracted with a few other things, and I turned it on and I was listening to your live, and I wasn't really even sure what it was. So I listened a bit, and then I was watching what was going on in the chat and such, and it brought me back to the 13-hour phone call that I was on. Do you remember about the 13-hour call with Jenny and Adrian and Scott and Penny?
I think I remember you saying something about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I wasn't part of it, but
no, you had nothing to do with that. Yeah. There was no, I don't even think there was any mention of you in that call. If there was, I don't recall that. I do recall, though, a lot of discussion about Fred. And during that time, and the problem is with this is I only have my word, obviously, because I did not record that. Jenny's the only one that has that call, gavel. So it was 13 hours. I do know she has all of it because she told me she was recording. I would have recorded the call if she hadn't said that she had it. Because at the very beginning of the call, I had said, is someone recording this? And at the time, sort of kind of trace back to what had happened. It was when I was live that day. Jenny had come up. Penny was up there. Jenny started crying. She was really upset, saying that we needed to shut down the live because Jody's daughter was being held hostage. Yeah, it's up on my channel. It's in the fake Fred playlist. So if you go to my playlist section on my channel, it's all there. So I think there's 26 or 27 videos in the fake Fred playlist. So I was live. We were going over a whole bunch of stuff to do with Jody. And that was when Shay Safe Place had shared documents about the restraining order between Andy and between Jody. And she was sharing a call between Jody's son and Andy that somehow they got their hands on or whatever. I didn't ever hear that call because I was live on my own stream. And Jenny came up. She said we needed to stop, that something was going on at Jody's. She couldn't say what. And in the meantime, I got a text from Penny saying, Tiffany, it's serious. It's a hostage situation. I put those screenshots out to prove that happened. But while we were on the call, they were discussing Fred and his involvement with Summer's disappearance and what they were going to do and what their plans were when they went to Tennessee. So I think it's interesting in watching how Gavel just reacted to this. And so my conversation with Jody, what you just played, I stand by every word. I've never backed down from anything, nor will I today, because I meant every word that I said to her. I had no idea that they were doing all of that behind the scenes. I was live for like I don't even know how long, probably 6 hours at that point that day.
Oh, and was this around the time that they were talking about going to Tennessee and stuff like that, or had they already been?
It was months before. So it was literally, so that would have been two months when they were out there. So it was already in the works. The trip, I was actually supposed to go. Benny was supposed to go. It was the trip that they had left in behind. Do you remember that?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I've also just gone back through. So I was searching while I was listening to all this. I was like, let me search Fred's name in my text messages. And of course, when I pull up my text, I have a plethora of texts from Jenny, especially from Jenny about Fred. I don't mind sharing those with you. I do think it's important because what I'm seeing from her is that she's basically trying to shut down why she would shut. First of all, if anybody should be like, put off by a phone call being put out, it should be me, right? It's me and Jody talking. Jody recorded it. Why is Jenny upset and I'm not? I'm not upset because there's nothing that I said on that phone call that is upsetting to me, right? Why is Jenny bothered by that? I don't understand. But on the call, they had plans to fuck with Fred when they went to Tennessee, and they talked about that. So I am bothered by the fact that Jenny is, I mean, like,
it's supposed to be about Summer Wells, not about like messing with other people, and you know what I mean? Like, that's what's crazy
about Summer to Jenny. I think at one point in the beginning it was, and in the these escapades have gone on and on and on for so long that I think it did start off with she cared about Summer, but then it quickly turned to focusing on Jody and her household.
Yep, obsessing.
Yeah, ridiculous. And it was very obsessive. And I remember telling Jenny, this isn't healthy. Like, you really need to stop with Jody's life, because I'm going to say right now, I don't think anybody has covered Jody as extensively as I have. And I never went and crossed the line into, talking to her family, reaching out to her family, making phone calls and becoming friends with Jody's, family members, wanting to get close to her daughter, wanting her daughter removed from the household. They actually staged a fake hostage situation to get her daughter removed. And I feel like, when did that become acceptable? Is it acceptable just because it's Jody? I feel so, yes, because I've seen over the last several months things come to light over in the community that I come from, where people over here that have condoned what went on with Jody stand against it with someone else, where they're up there preaching about, this is horrible, you would never do this, and they did it to Jody. And that is the truth, I
think that's what she's trying to deny. I wish there could be some kind of proof with the whole her trying to talk to Jody Sue's daughter, which I didn't listen to the whole call, so I don't know. Because that's like, I think that's a big no-no. I can't believe she would freaking...
Well, I would sign the Bible and testify in a court of law, so if that's not good enough, I don't know what would...
No, I believe you. I know people are going to say, like, I believe you about about the mess with Fred thing, too, because they've been so... I don't know. They just really... I feel like the only reason why they attached to Andy was to get to Jody Sue. Was all it was. I don't even think that they... I have a hard time... Do they actually believe he's innocent? Yes.
They absolutely stand by Andy in every sense of the word. There is nothing that they will not do for that man. And I've even said they don't know him. I've watched Jody even defend Andy where certain things are concerned, and she's saying, I don't want to defend Andy, but I don't have a choice because the truth is the truth. I'm not going to let them lie on this one particular situation. I've seen her even put his name in her title, whereas she's come a long way. Whereas before, I haven't talked to Jody in quite a while. It's been a while because I've been super busy over the summer, but I've seen her go from not being able to even say or mention his name to saying, your people that say they have your back are creating a really big monstrosity here for you, and you don't even realize it, and this didn't happen, this is not true, and I do think that there's a lot of validity to some of the things that she's trying to get across, and I do feel that she's been I feel like a lot of the things that Jody has said where she's come, I don't feel like she feels like she's being heard, and I think that in the long run people are going to be probably surprised and maybe even ashamed that they've done some of the things. I mean, I had to check myself at one point too with how I was handling Jody. I felt, okay, I've been a little too hard on her. Like, I really have focused only on Jody for a couple months, and I don't normally do that. I'm just focused on one thing on my channel. You know what I mean? I don't want to be targeted toward one person all the time. I don't like that. I feel like it's dogpiling. And I am at fault in many ways for probably even kicking off a lot of things that have transpired because they all flocked to me. And then with that phone call, they wanted my approval. They wanted this community to support what was going on with trying to get her daughter removed. But you just brought back like so many conversations in that phone call about Fred, because Fred was a topic for a long time. He always has been. I think that there's been a little bit of mystery behind, his name and a lot of the ongoings with Fred down there. A lot of people saying that Candace and John had gone to Fred's afterwards, which I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Don went freaking down there, and that's why the law enforcement came down there and had him where, that's when they were like, they wanted him to record them because of Don, like, they wanted to know what Don was saying when he came down there. But Candace, no, she wasn't down there. But do you know anything that they were like what kind of stuff were they planning on doing? Just like were they trying to get him in trouble, or were they just gonna like?
They had the plan themselves. So I had said, remember when I had come to you and we were talking on the phone and you had said that I had told you that Benny and I wanted to talk to Fred? Do you remember that?
Yes. Yep.
And you told Fred that he would be coming. Do you remember that?
Yes. Okay, yeah.
So way back, I was going to be going down there and whatnot. Things started getting weird. There were threats being thrown around. In fact, the only people that threatened us, it was Andy and Squall. Scott H. got involved in there. I don't know if I would consider what he said a threat. I think he was kind of just piggybacking off of what they said. But Andy Bernard said that he would cut trees down on us and block us in there. Do you remember that?
I don't know. I don't remember. I mean, but
I have it all anyways, even if you don't. But this all goes
I
back to
remember
that.
talking to you, and I remember that whole plan to go out there. What was that? $300 that was that to help Benny get there or something? I heard that $300.
The $300 was Benny paying Andy to get on the property at 125. But what Benny did was Benny gave the money to Adrienne, Karma Mama, and she pocketed the money or gave it to Andy as her own money or whatever. And they went up there, leaving Benny behind, and took his money.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what happened with the $300. So, and Benny was supposed to be giving Andy more money because that was the deal. That wasn't all. Andy wanted more. Andy does ask for payment when, you know, he's doing, it's not just a favor for summer or anything like that. It's a compensation type of thing. So
I wonder what Ryan paid on the thing. Yeah,
I think that was a pretty penny.
Yeah, I wonder if Ryan and them knew each other beforehand. Have you talked to JC about like where Ryan came from? Like,
well, I've done extensive research on Ryan, and I know. Well, you and I haven't talked, but Ziggy, I think you know some things. You know, he only lived 20 minutes from you in Indiana.
Yeah, he told me. Yeah, he told me that he had family out there and stuff, but.
So he works for a company that does data analysts work for social media. Ryan, I haven't even spoken on all this. I have a list a mile long. He works for a man from the Middle East. I have all of this, so I will send it to you if you want. I don't know how you want to talk through email.
It's just weird how he came about. Like that's just a whole other.
Oh, absolutely. He's here for his own reasons. It's not anything to do with Summer. He has over 400,000 followers on Pinterest. Ryan does. He refuses to share Summer's information on Pinterest to 400,000 people. He moved to where he's living now, literally, I think it was 14 months before Summer went missing. And he used to do hiking for his family member. I'm going to get into all that.
Oh, yeah, his brother. Yeah, I know. I remember him saying that. And that was at the beginning, and I was like, okay, oh, this guy seems like I thought he was like an intellectual, would be about the facts. And
he is literally on some kind of mission. What that is, I think I completely understand after digging through and doing the research I've done on him. I did all that way back when, I think it was right before you and him fell out, but you and I haven't talked, so I never did share any of that with you, but I've always been like, wow, I wonder if he knows this, and this, because there's a lot, actually, people really do need to know about Ryan. And we could talk about that sometime. I don't know if you want to, like, do a live on that, but I would be more than willing to share with you.
Yeah, I know people are upset that we're talking or whatever, but you guys, we can all talk about the case and be adults. Like, it's fine.
I'm not here to bother Ziggy. I'm literally here to discuss this because what he was just talking about, actually.
We don't have to talk about the things we disagree about or don't agree with each other about. I mean, we just talk about, and I know people are upset, but like, I don't.
My Sunday night, pretty much for me, because I go back to work in the morning, so I don't have a lot of time to stay up here. I actually have to go in a few minutes, but I wanted to, and Ziggy, I would like to talk to you a little bit more offline if possible, because I don't want to put out everything in public. I don't really move around with these assholes in public, because the more I say, they get ahead of and try to cover up and clean up, because the main people who are trying to distract and deflect, okay, it's not just Jenny, it's not just Adrienne. Dietz is involved in this, chasing truth. This is not just Jenny. It's a lot. And I have been literally watching them completely ignore Summer and not give a flying crap, all for Andy Bernard. And I don't understand it. While attacking Fred for whatever reason. Now, I don't know who's guilty of what, right? But I do see what's happening from a different perspective where I could say, okay, I don't see Fred and Ziggy dogpiling onto Andy, but I do see all of them dogpiling onto Fred. So if they had something of substance, why on that 13-hour phone call would Jenny and Adrienne and Penny be discussing what they're going to do when they go out there, right? And that's another thing. I had already said to them that Benny and I were going to meet up with Fred. So this is another thing. There's a lot going here. So that's when the door opened for all of, and I'm like listening to this phone call that I had with Jody, and then I'm listening to you, and I'm seeing Jenny in the chat, and you saying, Jenny, like, I don't agree with Tiffany on everything, but I think this is important to play. Well, I think it's important that I speak on the things that, they were doing in the phone call, because I want the truth for Summer. I don't want all of these lies and all of this bullshit hidden, because you're going to just pocket it away and hide it forever. That's not where it belongs, because Summer is still missing, okay? I haven't forgotten about her. But they seem to only be focusing on Andy and trying to, annihilate Jody for the last, I don't know how many years. But they're not just doing that to Jody. They have other people that they target. They just don't do it out in the open. Everything's behind the scenes. So their plan was to get, to get Fred into their, wherever they were going to meet up with him. Did they ever meet up with Fred?
No, nobody's ever talked to Fred. Except Ryan talked to Fred one time on the phone, like a short time when he was in jail, but that's it. Nobody's
ever said that Jenny or Adrienne or Chasing or anyone tried to get in touch with them when they were out there. The multiple times they went out there.
No, they never tried to get a hold of him. And nor did they get a hold of me and to try to arrange that.
Scott, you could speak to the things that they were talking about doing with Fred. You were on that phone call. Scotty, she's in chat, and I don't watch her, so I will not. No, I don't watch her. Scott could probably tell you about the things. All right, so Fred's in chat. He says no. He says that they never did try to meet up with him. Are you sure that they didn't identify themselves as someone else? Has he ever seen them?
No, nobody's ever came out there. Out to 125? No, or out to, I'm sorry, not 125. Out to 165 or 207 to Fred, the Hill property? No, nobody's ever came out there. nobody's even asked to talk to. Nobody's came out there and asked to talk to Fred, like zero, since the beginning of the case, which doesn't even make sense. People act so scared of it. So.
Okay, because that kind of even more so makes me wonder. I think that you need to maybe. Are you sure, Fred, that no one ever came around knocking for you?
Doesn't mean that they didn't try coming down there, but yeah, gosh, most people. I didn't even. Gosh, I'm trying to think when that would have been around the time. What that would have been a couple years ago, right? Probably, or a year and a half ago.
He said, "I'm sure." Okay,
but I don't know if they would. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think she ever got a hold of me and asked me to meet her. I was trying so hard to get people to talk to Fred, because I knew if they would just meet up with him and talk to him, that they would see what kind of guy he was, really, you know.
You really get afraid of talking to Fred?
Seems to be what everybody else has done for some reason. I don't know. Like, I don't know if they were scared or what.
Well, painfully, because their plans were definitely not to avoid Fred. So I'm wondering what changed.
Who?
Jenny.
So who? Jenny, Adrian, and chasing?
Well, chasing wasn't a part of it at that point yet, though.
Oh, okay.
It was Jenny and Adrian. Penny was never going, so it was only Jenny and Adrian.
Dawn's PI, other than, you know,
Gavel wrote in the chat book, got deleted. I wouldn't mind knowing what she said. Are you able to see what it said, Ziggy?
Yeah. It said, hold on. She was saying that she never said anything bad about, or never said anything about Fred, but about, like, she said something about not involved in what nutcase. There's no text about Fred from me, nor has there ever been any conversation about.
It wasn't in a text. It was on the 13-hour phone call, Jenny. It wasn't in a text, and you're not going to do that. You're not going to say it was in a text. It's not in a text. It was on the 13-hour call. So I didn't say a text. I'm not sure why you'd write it. It was in a text, because it wasn't. It was on the phone call. That's why I just asked Scott, and he disappeared the second I asked. See, this is what I'm talking about. You can call me a nutcase all you want, Jenny. That's what people do when they're trying to discredit people, and you're not going to discredit me. Okay? I don't know what all you people are trying to do still, all this time later. You're the one with something to hide, not me. No, I didn't say it was in a text. Don't call me a liar. Ziggy, I'm sitting right here with you. I just said it was on a 13-hour phone call multiple times. You want it to be in a text, right, Jenny? Because there's nothing in text about it. It's on the call. I can't help that, but that's not my problem. You're not going to change the story while I'm sitting right here. I just said it. Anyone can go back and listen. You can put out the call or not. That's not up to me. I don't have a call. I'm sitting here telling Ziggy what you all were plotting to do, right? And you don't like it. This is what you don't want. You don't want me to talk to Ziggy. You don't want me to tell Ziggy anything, right? I didn't foresee her teaming up with Fred in any way, shape, or form at that time, but I remember now, today. So Jody is actually getting a lot done over there, I suppose, because you don't want her listening to that phone call either. Why would you be bothered by a recorded phone call you weren't even on? That phone call was recorded of me. I'm not upset about it, but you are? That's strange, Jenny.
No, yeah, she said Tiffany did say she had text about Fred, but not about the, right? I mean, you do have text about Fred?
I have about what I just told you about.
Not about the plan.
Yeah, you should back up, rewind, and listen again. I think you're just too quick to respond, Jenny. You people listen and hear what you want to hear, and then you flip it, chop it, and screw it within 2 seconds flat. You're not going to do that. I'm sitting right here speaking, and I know what I just said. Thanks. See, Jenny is always on cleanup mode. Yeah,
she did say the plan, guys, was on the call. She said the plan was on the call.
Yes.
So I can see why people got confused, but she was talking about the call, that the plan, that she even said herself she didn't have it recorded, she didn't have any proof of it, but we would just have to take her word. That's what Tiffany said at the beginning.
What I said about the text, thank you, Ziggy. I'm glad you remember, because this one here in chat wants to flip everything that I just said. What I said about the text was that while I was listening to this live, I plugged Fred's name into my text. And yes, I do have a whole bunch of texts about Fred. Yes, some of them are from you, Jenny. You can't delete those like you tried to delete all of our correspondence in Facebook Messenger. I have all those. And you know what, Jenny? When it comes down to it, if court ever decides to subpoena all of those messages from you to me in Messenger, they don't get deleted legally. They might be deleted on my end. I have all that screen recorded. That wouldn't help in court, though. Facebook will give all of that to the court. You know that, right? Careful. Stop fucking with me, Jenny. And stop fucking with people and their children and their families. Fred's name is nowhere in where, Jenny? She's saying Fred's name is nowhere in there. I have all of them right here. My iPad is full. I pay for 2T storage. Nothing is gone for my text. So I'd really like to know why she's in here worrying about this. Look how worried she is. Ziggy, that's all you need to see.
Well, I mean, I know that she says she hasn't said anything. I'm not trying to, like, I already know she's been out there talking bad about me and Fred. I already know. And that was the one. I didn't care. I didn't have any loyalties to Adrian. I mean, I didn't have any real loyalties to Jenny either, but I thought she was very intelligent. And
I think you were even close to Fred, though, Ziggy. Like, back then, this wouldn't have been something that you would have even gotten upset about anyway, I don't think. Because when did you start?
Well, no, I mean, I've been talking to Fred from the very beginning. You know, we always
romantically, right?
Yeah, no, only in like the last a little over a year, or no, year about. But we've been talking since January of 2022, and at first, like, it took a few times, you know, looking into him, talking to him, until I actually started really sticking up for him, because I just truly believe that he's innocent.